Hi, everybody. Welcome to this talk on improving DEI in course content. During the certification program in effective college instruction, I learned the following ways to enhance the DEI in teaching practices, including providing accessibility and accommodation, excuse me, using more inclusive and equitable language, offering inclusive office hours, creating equitable course policies, valuing diverse perspectives and learning styles, promoting diverse representations, avoiding microaggression, and mitigating implicit bias. And lastly, but not least, is to improve the DEI in course material and content, which is the focus of this presentation. In this presentation, I will provide 7 principles and each with examples to demonstrate how to improve DEI in course material. And this project is part of my Triandiflou Institute Fellowship. And to improve the course content of a general education course, Plants and Society. This course falls in both science and world awareness category in our general education courses. And I chose this textbook because it's very comprehensive and has very good figures. And in the preface of this textbook, it says it has undergone extensive DEI review in order to implement more equitable language by making word choices that are inclusive, culturally sensitive, and representative of all people. I think this is a very good move, yet there's still room to improve. For example, in this textbook, throughout the textbook, it used words such as Far East, Near East, and these kind of words are Eurocentric. Thus, the language part can still be improved. Well, I focus on the content of this to improve this textbook. So firstly, number 1 principle is to provide an inclusive course syllabus. Because course syllabus probably is the first course content that a student read. So it's very important to send the two to be embrace DEI at the very beginning of the semester. So here is an example of the DEI statement in my syllabus. I use a language, how I talk with students, so it's more genuine. It feel like I write it, right? And I use, I'm committed to do this, right? I want to do this. So something like this kind of language can really feel it's right from my heart. And I offer accommodation for accessibility for religious holidays and ask for preferred names and pronouns. And also in this course, any software, it must be accessible to all students. So this is what we can do for the syllabus to set the tune at the very beginning of the semester. Principle number 2 is to choose images and other visual contexts that represent diverse population. So in Brightspace, when I set up an assignment, when I choose the it's called decorative images, I try to choose images from diverse population. And so here is the example. And also, for course content, also diverse images are needed. In the chapter on papers and paper products, the author mentioned that Europe was more than 1,000 years behind China in terms of paper making. Yet the only images provided in this section is a European paper making machines. So that's not equitable. So I choose some images from Wikipedia public images that represent the culture that actually invented paper making. So these are different choices for choose images that represent diverse population. So that's number 2. Number 3 is to select textbook and authorship from course material from underrepresented groups. For this project, I cited books from author from South Africa, Asian author in terms of ethnicity and geography, and also Native American author, African authors, Hispanic authors. And these authorship represent both geographical and ethnical diversity, and that has benefit. For example, the author from South Africa provide how cumin and fenugreek are used in African cuisine, which cannot be found in any other books. While the Latino author provide information on how lemongrass was used in Jamaica, which this kind of information is absent from other books. So they can provide their unique aspects because their background, which contribute to the knowledge. So that's number 3, select authorship that represent especially for underrepresented groups. Number 4 is to use more equitable arrangement of course content. In this textbook, the author mentioned that tea is the most popular beverage in the world. Yet, when arrange the sections within this chapter on stimulating beverages, the author has coffee as the first section. I think it's probably because coffee is the most popular in Western culture, but not in the world, right? So to make it more equitable, I placed this tea as the first section of stimulating beverages to make it more equitable, not just from a Western perspective. So that's number 4. And number 5 is to provide balanced perspectives on historical events. There's a chapter in this course called psychoactive plants. The author spent a section in this chapter on the Opium War. There was 2 Opium Wars, and the language is could be improved, and also the perspective could be improved. For example, the author used sell opium, yet opium was illegal in China at that time. So it's more suitable to use smuggling rather than selling, right? And also the author call it sell it as a solution. And I provide, corresponding to the previous principle I mentioned, I provide images again from Wikipedia and public domain images about the older summer palace, which is one of the best botanical garden in the world has ever built. So it's botanical related, and it shows it's probably it suffer from probably the most massive and looting and vandalizing in human history. So it's really not a solution. So by providing this historical aspect and using facts, I provide a balanced perspective of this historical event of the Opium Wars. So that's number 5, providing perspectives and diverse perspective. And number 6 is to provide alternative perspectives in course context using multiple materials and all from underrepresented groups. So when talking about stimulating beverages, there's a section on the customers of tea. And the tea customers has disproportionately represent Western culture, such as British high tea and how Russian use tea. And it does cover Japan. And firstly, I provide images about the tea scent that's used in Chinese tea ceremony. And also I provide more information on how tea, where tea is originated is from China, right? How it's used in the country that it was originated. And also I provide more information on the chai tea from India and the Thai tea from Thailand, to give more diverse perspective on this subject of tea customs, representing more diverse societies. So that's number 6. And number 7 is actually the focus of my my research, because when during the chapter on herbs and spices, the herb and spices chosen disproportionately represent Western cuisines. And I add these herbs listed in the table on the right. I added these herb and spices that are popular or characteristic of some underrepresented societies yet they are still available in the United States. So when students learn about this knowledge, and they can benefit because they can purchase this in the United States and it may benefit their diet and their health. So these are the herb and spices I chose, and I'm just gonna go through them very quickly to show you the slides I made to provide the actual course content. For example, I have this star anise from East Asia, originated from East Asia, but widely used in many other societies. And green cardamom from originated South Asia, and curry leaves from South Asia. And I think many students, they do eat curry, but they don't understand where the curry leaves come from, right? So I think this will be beneficial for their knowledge. And cumin from Mediterranean, West Asia, and fenugreek from Mediterranean, West Asia, bay leaf from Mediterranean region, and licorice from Mediterranean, Central Asia, and sesame. I think a lot of Americans use sesame, but they don't understand that it's actually originate from East Africa and India, and lotus and from South and East Asia, as well as Australia, and chrysanthemum from East Asia, and lemongrass from South Asia, cress from East Africa, West Asia, hibiscus from Africa, and rooibos from Africa, and stevia from South America, and nasturtium from South America. So I try to choose these herbs and spices that represent that underrepresented society in this textbook. And in addition, there's a chapter on medicinal plants. And at the beginning of this chapter, they also talk about the history of the medicinal use of plants. It has 4 sentences for Africa, 3 sentences for China, 3 sentences for India, 1 paragraph for Americas. Well, it spent a whole section on the early Greek and Romans, and another long section on Europe. Thus, the texts in this chapter disproportionately represent Western cultures. Thus, I add additional course content regarding the medicinal use of plants in Africa, Australia, and New Zealand, South America, Central America, North America, and Ayurvedic medicine and traditional Chinese medicine. These are the 2 most ancient, comprehensive, and prominent herbal medicine system in the world. So let me just quickly go through the slides I created for this part. And so here is a history about herbal medicine of Africa, and about traditional Chinese medicine, and about Ayurvedic medicine, and the history of herbal medicine in Australia and New Zealand, the history of herbal medicine of South America, and of Central America, and North America. So, so these are the course contexts I added to make it more equitable. And in summary, here are the 7 principles I concluded during this project. So number 1, provide an inclusive course syllabus. Number 2, choose images and other visual contexts that represent diverse population. Number 3, select textbooks and authorship from course material for course material from underrepresented groups. Use more equitable arrangement of course context. Provide a balanced perspective on historical events. Provide alternative perspective in course context using multiple materials and all from underrepresented groups. And lastly, and diverse information from traditional marginalized societies. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the chat.
Questions, comments?
This definitely sounds very, very interesting. So if you can share these books with me, I would appreciate it.
Okay. Yes. Yes, for sure. Any other questions and comments?
Okay, well, thank you.
Okay,
We'll stop the recording.
thank you. Have a great summer.
Yep, you too.